All right, so I'm trying not to rant too much, so I want to keep this short because I started thinking about Across the Spider-Verse, and I started thinking about the Spider Society's plan for Miles Morales. Okay, and I have a problem with it because I started thinking about it. I started noticing some issues, and that cascaded. Okay, and my first issue, I have three issues I have with it. I want to talk about quick. Right, the first one is getting all those Spider-Men or Spider people, right, to actually agree to letting this happen, letting this plan fulfill without, you know, because their whole plan was to stop Miles Morales from actually trying to save his father, because they believe that his father needed to die so the world doesn't end, and that would send Peter down, or not Peter, Miles Morales down the path of being Spider-Man. Okay, right, that was their whole plan. Like, so getting them all to agree to that, I actually can't see, especially if it's a version of Peter Parker. I actually firmly believe that if it was a version of Peter Parker, he would understand that Miles would probably actually do everything they can to fight the Spider people to letting him try to save his dad. Peter Parker is smart enough, and he probably been in that situation. You know what I mean? Which leads to my next problem I have with it is them calling it a canon event. And I think in other Marvel movies, like, they even kind of comment on canon events that if it's a canon event, that means if without any outside source, right, coming in and stopping it, it would happen, right? So them actually getting involved could have prevented the thing they're trying to make happen. You know, that's the whole, I think maybe that's the irony of the whole thing. Maybe that was what they're going for, but they don't mention that. And I think someone there would have mentioned it, right? Like, they have a whole room of spider people that they didn't mention this. Not one of them said, "Hey, I fucking told you, man. You know, I told you this would happen." Not one of them. The only person that had a problem with it, and he actually quit, was the color changing one. I can't remember his name. I'm ashamed I forgot his name, because I loved him. But he left and he quit. Which this goes off to my next issue is, like, what if it's not the actual canon event that they're wanting to happen? What if this was just a plan by the bad guys to attack Miles, right? Like, the whole reason why a lot of, like, Star Trek, for example, has a don't get involved rule or law is because you don't know what's going to happen, right? So them getting involved could have actually been the thing that makes Miles go down the villainous path. Because him being a villain is a very real thing. I think you actually see in the same movie about Miles actually becoming the Prowler. In one of them, he becomes a Prowler. And that's a very real thing. What if that was the thing? What if his father dying is the very thing that leads him down him becoming a Prowler? You know? And not one of them mentioned that either. Which I think my biggest issue is having that many people in on the plan and not one of them mentioning it. And maybe they did in the meeting, but they all went along with it. Still, even if they didn't like it, Gwen did, the Spider Dad. The only one that didn't, there's only two people that didn't go along with the plan. That was Miles, because it was his dad, obviously. And two was the color changing Spider guy that quit. And once they started chasing Miles. But that was my issue. Please let me know what you think of it. I would love to hear it. If I missed anything, please let me know. Because I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on things. But until next time, bye-bye.